Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast, Ed, Season
4, Episode 1.
Season 4, Episode 1, and what a show we've got on tap for you tonight. I want to begin by thanking our sponsors. They make all this shit happen, right? Our friends over at Pioneer. Oh, look at this. Watch.
What happened
We'll have a little unveiling, Ed. Oh, I was showing off the mini bikes earlier. There you go. Pioneer.
There we go. Pioneer.
Right? And I want to welcome back Go-Kart USA, Go-Karts USA. In fact, I've been working on that American flyer, Ed.
Cool.
Right behind Guardrail Dave. We should probably get to the guests, but we'll thank the sponsors first, right? All right, so guess who else is coming back, Ed?
Who?
Go-Kart USA. We've got our friends over at Go Power Sports.
Yes.
Got their T-shirt out here. These guys have been around since 1962 with Minibike and Go-Kart Mayhem out of El Paso, Texas, I think it says. GoPowerSports.com. And also our friends over at Studs Power Sports. Eric's got a new website he wants you guys to go check out, so we'll be giving some announcements about that. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making this happen. And tonight, it is the Evil Ed. We're not going to give it a numeric reference. Not that you're over 70. I didn't even want to mention that in any way, shape, or form, but it's the Evil Ed non-numerical birthday podcast celebration. Happy birthday, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You're a pretty busy guy, I noticed. So just getting you out here. And you have a special guest with us tonight. Who's here?
Guardrail Dave.
Guardrail Dave. Thank you for joining us, Guardrail Dave. How were the tacos?
They were great.
And how many did you have?
Only 2.
He had 3. He had 3.
That's right, he had 3. And then we have Irving over here.
We have Irving Payan. Now, why is he here?
He posted up on Facebook why he wanted to be here.
For your big birthday bash?
Yep.
And no one else did?
Yeah, no one else did.
So we got him here. Irving, welcome. I call him the Green Hornet. Irving's here. Did you ever find your wife and your kid?
Yeah, they're out here doing some little shopping.
Are they? Okay. Well, we're going to have Irving on a little bit later on in the show. Irving's just one of us. He's a mini bike guy. He's been coming to the mini bike show forever. He's the only one that actually pays the $20 for one of your hats, Ed. Yeah. So I thought we'd have him on. But we're going to kick off the first part of the podcast with our friends and our longstanding buddies and supporters from Steady Garage, Kevin Dunn and Ray Tong. Welcome, guys.
What's up?
Hello.
Hey,
We're
glad to be on here.
We're low bucks, so you're sharing the microphone there, right?
Yep.
Thank you guys for coming out. Now, look, I know it's freezing. Like they said, it was colder in Chicago, Ed, than it was in Antarctica.
Really?
Yeah.
Who said that?
They said. When they say they, it's usually like weather people. Let's just say it's like the Weather Channel. But it's cold. So when we're here, all bundled up, what is it, 50, 45 degrees out? But it's cold. It's rainy. This is our version of winter, right?
This is our version, yeah.
And people can't drive in LA.
It's rainy. It's
right?
raining.
Yeah, you can't drive for shit.
So you know that firsthand. Where'd you drive up from? You got Irwindale area,
from
right?
Irwindale, yeah. Lots of red brake lights.
Yeah. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Well, how was today's day at the shop?
It was great. We got a Cub, a SuperCub that Honda delivered. Unfortunately, they took their monkey back, but we got a Cub. So we upgrade.
In the backdrop, in fact, Emmanuel, knowing him by now, he's probably already fled in the podcast with pictures. But the Cub is the Khloe Kardashian in the Honda family. She's not quite the Kim Kardashian. That would be the monkey.
Yeah, I would say that would be the monkey.
Yeah, so
that's
Khloe
good.
come rounding out. Yeah. And this bike is probably one of the more popular bikes internationally out there, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It sold 100 million, right?
120 million worldwide since 58.
And here we come, like, oh, look at this new thing, right? You guys must get a kick out of that, right? But it's exciting being in, because people ask me about Steady Garage, and, my first reaction is I'll take the customer route. You guys totally transformed my Grom. I took my stock 2014, red Grom, and I'm slowly getting Ed's. I'm winning him over to the mini moto side of things. But he's a hardcore rigid frame pull start guy. It's an evolution. Okay. But my experience with what you guys did to my Grom, and not only the way that I love what you did with it, but the reception I get when I'm out there, I love it. Because it was nice and subtle, and they were all the right changes, and you did it the right way, and it was just easy to work with you, and I appreciated that. But then when I had the event, you guys were the first one with your arms up about looking on how you could help, and helped me attract a group of folks that probably weren't going to come to the event without your help. So I've always been a fan of Steady Garage, but I always said that you guys really are the go-to shop for the mini moto market. If you want to take your stock Grom, Metro, or Ruckus, or Kawasaki, or now Monkey or Cub, it's like in the old days with the Slam pickup trucks, Ed, where you would buy them over DeLillo Chevrolet, and they looked all funky because they were way too high and everything. There was way too much plastic, and you would just slam them and haircut and shave, put bumper mats on them, clean them up.
First place you'd go is to the lowering shop.
Yeah, well, this is where you go when you buy a mini moto. You go to Steady Garage, and never have let me down. And you have great parties. Yeah. Did this one get shut down this year?
This one shut down.
Last year got shut down for sure.
Yeah. But now you know you got a good party.
Yeah, we got like 6 cop cars and
Yeah.
the whole thing.
So,
Almost a helicopter.
Captain. was-
So in the first couple of years, we didn't have any cops, so it took you time to have the right party. Yeah, well, I went with my brother-in-law Marv, who's probably listening in, Gary Tellerico. He's out in Florida, but he came, and that was when you had the first Rebel. Yeah, and
That was a good party.
it was just announced, and you guys had already had one that was already just about stage 2. You had it pretty modified, and it was looking good. And I remember that, but you guys are now taking it a step further with this mini massive 2019 event that's happening March 30th. City of Industry. It's set up now where it's an all-day event. Probably get done about 5 o'clock, but you can come in, you can exhibit, which is you can have your bike on display, be eligible for a variety of awards. In fact, it had so many awards, we'll go over them a little bit later, and then I'll post them on the website. But you'll have an opportunity to, once you're there, some guys just like to show. Some guys like to stunt, particularly with these mini motos, so we'll have some stunting, right?
Yeah.
Drag racing,
For sure.
and time attack.
Yeah.
So you are wrapping up all the elements of all the activities that people like to do in pretty much a 2-day deal if you throw in the ride. So tell me how this idea came to play and why you're doing it.
It started when we
got the party shut down.
Yeah. So we were like, oh, we gotta go with a venue now.
Because you knew you had the crowd, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted more.
Correct.
Yeah, and then we also took a trip to Japan last year, where they did they had a they call it the Scooter Champ event, and they had drag racing. They have like a road race and all that, and an exhibition. I don't know, that's pretty cool. I think
People were loving it, right?
Yeah.
Did they have a spectator stands where people were watching? And because I see that eventually. You know,
yeah.
drifting is taking on that because it's spectator sport. You start stunting and time attacking, and you start doing what you're going to do at this massive mini bike event. It's going to be. You're gonna have a good group of spectators. Yeah. So you went there and you got the bug, right?
Yeah, and then so we came back and we started talking about it. I mean, we talked about it before, but we really want it to happen. So we started working and started talking to a bunch of venues and all that. We asked Irwindale Speedway, and they said that you guys are crazy. You guys want to go? You guys want to drag race on a mini bike? Nah.
Same thing they said to us.
Yeah.
And they're friends of ours.
Yeah.
We recently kicked off the Roadkill tour to Tucson from Irwindale, and they have a junior dragster class.
Yeah, they do.
But they're very aware of, and you and Ed, you and I have talked about this, Ed, the fact that with that small wheelbase, in our case where it was 6 inches, maybe 8 inches, the guys wanted no part of it.
Yeah.
So because I thought, Irwindale, perfect. Might as well be L.A. Christ, it's 2 steps from your shop, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys can roll up there, put up a banner, and be ready to go. But that was too good to be true. So Irwindale's out, right?
Yep.
So we looked around, and then we found out that we found a flyer from our neighbor Flanders, and they had a
Flanders, the fitting guy.
yeah, the fitting
Yes.
guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they had a flyer that say, Industry Hill Expo. They have a circle track.
Every
Wednesday.
in summer.
So maybe these guys might allow us to do some of this stuff. So we asked them, and they were like, yeah, come on through and we'll talk about it. And now we're here and promoting an event.
Well, that venue is the one that Minibike Paul decided to work with when he was going to try to continue on Fun Fest, if you recall.
Right.
And I'm not sure, I wasn't able to attend that event, and so I wasn't aware of the crowd there, but that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
We're in SoCal, a little closer
The
to
only
Orange
problem
County.
we had was they combined us with go-karts, and the go-kart guys didn't like us.
Which they won't have to worry
Well,
about.
because
Yeah.
it's our thing.
Great.
It's our event.
So
Yeah, they claimed we were tearing up the track and all this other
they're
stuff.
two different guys. Those guys running around with the go-karts, I think are a little bit different than maybe the quote-unquote mini bike guys. So you won't have any of that to deal with. But so a guy that wants to come to bring his bike, he's going to have an option just to register his bike and show it.
Yeah, you could do that. There's people who register for show and also drag. So we told them, for those who enter both, as long as they're there between the judging hours, then they're fine. And then after the judging hour, after their bike get judged, they could go out and drag race and do all the other activities. Yeah.
Why don't you take us through like what you see it being like from start to finish? The guy's going to show up at what time?
Around
Early.
Yeah.
What time?
10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, 11.
So the gates are open at what time?
Gate are open for setup actually at maybe 7 in the morning.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
So all the guys
so
that
for
are
all the
vendors are going to have those guys all set up. So if I'm a participant, I'm bringing my bike, whether I'm going to show it or stunt it. What time is the gates open for that guy?
9:30.
Okay, and he's there 9 to 5. Is that the hours for the
Yeah,
event?
yeah.
Okay, so he'll then have an opportunity to enter as a show, enter the time attack, enter the drag racing. Is that part of it, or is that in addition to?
Isn't that
All inclusive. and-
Great,
Yeah.
great. So it's whatever you want to sign up for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. And who's supporting it? I imagine by now you guys have a slew of sponsors, right?
Yeah, so we'd like to thank you for supporting it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And then, so Vance and Hein, Yoshimura, Racing Bros, A-Racer,
Zeus Armor.
Zeus Armor,
Yeah.
And then
Bassani,
Honda.
Sex something,
Sex
Sex
Machine
Machine.
Racing.
right?
Yeah.
You remember that one, huh? Yeah. I was looking at all the logos. You seem to be adding logos every day.
Yeah, every week we'll launch a new flyer, and then we'll add those who joined in after, so they wouldn't miss out on it.
Very cool. Once again, it's Mini Massive 2019. And as you look at this event for the first time here, you've been to enough of these events. We go to what's the big Grom event that we all meet up and ride? What was that?
Super Sunday.
Super Sunday, right? And next to Super Sunday, what are some of the other epic SoCal event rides?
The IE Fallout ride.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. In San Diego.
And then you went south. Didn't you go to Alabama or Tennessee somewhere? Where did you guys go?
Yes, that was on June.
Yeah, what event?
Tennessee.
Yeah, you guys seem to have fun when it's like a road trip from you guys. I see it.
Yeah.
Wishing I was there. What's that all about?
So it's about 5 or 6 guys in an RV for 2 days, 24 hours of driving. So a bunch of madness, a lot of beer drinking, a lot of
pit stops.
A lot of driving.
Yeah, more driving, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's good that the adventure getting there is fun, and then when we get there,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
People
Oh,
in Tennessee, they're really really good people, really
Yeah.
kind people.
Really.
Yeah, well, the
we had a lot
riding's
of
just
fun.
epic there, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get to ride through all those mountains are just beautiful. I spent some time in Chattanooga when we were working with Revin TV, and we actually, that evening, we were on a boat, we were along the river, and we are going by there, and I said to the local guy, I said, how much is a place like that? Like 3? And he's like, oh, no. That's the thing's like way under, like probably 2. I was like, 2 million? He's like, no, like 200,000. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, Dolly Parton lives over there, and the guy from Kentucky Fried Chicken owns that one. It's like, well, how much is that one? Oh, that's expensive. That's like 400,000 or 500,000. It's like, oh my god! So you want to run back there, and then you realize on Sunday that there's no alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like, so you have to move immediately.
Bible Belt.
There's no staying there. It was a good time. But you guys you've been to national events. You've done all the local events. You've gone across country to all these events. What's going to make your event different?
I think it might be one of the first event, or I think it might be the first. It is the first event with a sanctioned drag racing. So there's EMT there. There's
Ambulance.
There's ambulance and all that. So everything is all safe and all that. So they could go all out and not have to worry about cops
8th mile?
chasing them. We wish it was, but it's actually
16th?
16th. Yeah,
Yeah.
16th of a mile.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking Irwindale.
Yeah.
16th is great for those bikes,
Yeah.
And so we got that part figured out. What will the stunting be? That just kind of judging based on what?
Pretty much, it's kind of
round
like
of applause or judges or
it's kind of like an open session where people will, perform and give it what they got and just do it in a safe, a controlled environment, and you won't have to worry about police.
yeah. Well, I remember I would ride one of the coolest guys in our side of the mini bikes side of it, the mini moto side is Bing.
Yeah.
And Bing and his tireless efforts with working with and trying to coordinate all the rides that they have. And I'm about due because I haven't been since I had a little surgery done. But I'm gonna ride to your event in March for sure.
Okay.
And I'll be riding with those guys shortly after that. But he puts together that ride, and there's a group of us that go, and there's always 4 or 5 guys that like want to come and they want to stunt. And you know, it's like they're cool guys, but like if 40 guys come and only 4 want to stunt, you know, it's like you realize you're going to like a non-stunt event, but they still want to do it. And sometimes it's fun because you wish it was you doing it.
Yeah.
And they're having some fun, but you know, the cops light up and everybody gets fucked, and who's getting pulled over now. So you get turned off often with many of those stunters. And there's a lot of guys I know that come from out of state, whether it's Arizona or whether it's Vegas. And they come to LA with a little bit of, I'm going to show you what we do out there. And they stand out like somebody with a bad suit. You know, as soon as they show up, they got like the neon grips on the rear wheelie pegs. And it's like, so the stunters need a place.
Yes, they do.
Because they are cool guys.
Yeah.
They may not be the coolest guys to be around if you want to take a nice cool ride and not get hassled by the cops at night. But for an event, I like that because it'll give you that freestyle element that I think is so attractive, especially with young people. You know, if you can get some good stunters out there. What about the?
It's also a good showcase. You know, maybe because there are vendors, sponsors out there that maybe are looking for somebody to represent their products.
Yes.
Because they're exhaust companies, shocks,
Sure.
whatever it may be. You know.
Well, I think also, Ray, that the video captures of the stunters is what gets everybody's attention.
Yeah.
You know, those are the ones that get all the views, and they get all the likes, and they get all the friend requests. So, you know, at some point, these manufacturers are going to realize that they want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and they're really talented guys. They
Yeah.
practice hard. It's like skating and all that, you know.
Well, mostly, you can't stunt unless you know how to build that bike, usually from scratch, because most of them are modified, and most of them break, right?
Yeah.
Because they're
They're thrashing it.
So
yeah.
most of them are really cool guys. It's just that it's like they want that spotlight.
Yeah.
And that's why it's nice to have that for them at that
Exactly.
event. At that event. So what about the time attack? Because I know I've got some friends that do the global time attack for cars. Jason Deanhart, a guy that used to run back around in the NYRA circles when the sport compact craze was just happening. He started the time attack with a lot of the sport compact cars, and that's very successful. So a time attack with these two-wheelers, that tell us a little bit about what the plan is for that.
So it'll be a predetermined course with cone, made with cone. And so it's everyone racing against the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so there'll be different classes because, you know, obviously the scooter guys might be a little bit smoother, you know, going around the corner. They might have a little bit more balance and control. Whereas the mini moto guys in certain corner, it might be a little bit off balance or challenging because they have to, you know, figure it out because there'll be some tight setup and all that, you know.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah,
that should be really fun.
So, you know, whoever makes it around the quickest or the slowest will get something.
Within the there's a flyer that I posted on the website, or excuse me, the Facebook page, Joe's Minibike Reunion, and we'll also post it afterwards for those of you who are just watching or listening. We noticed that it was an offer and an invitation for small displacement engines. Let's eliminate any confusion. Numerically, what are we talking about? Are we talking under 125 cc's? Are we talking under 200 cc's? Like I've got is my van at 200 cc's? Is that
This is a
small
boy.
displacement?
Yeah.
Great. So what's the maximum or minimum, whatever you want to give to identify a small displacement?
For us, it's $399.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like the R3,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
KTM 390.
Oh, there you go. Great. Now, what do they call that class? That's the mini moto class, right? Those KTMs.
They're kind of
Like if you know, I'm trying to put them in
like
there.
a beginner, I guess.
Yeah, all right.
Call it, you know, like, you know.
Within that mini moto spectrum, help me along here. Because a lot of the guys that are into Joe's Minibike Reunion are more of these guys, right?
For sure.
So we'll take a look at an entry level being maybe a Ruckus, right? Those were the 50cc anemic little things that kind of got all this shit started again.
Yeah.
Thank God, right? You had $2,200, and there wasn't anything on that bike that you wanted to keep. It was right? Yeah.
Only the mainframe.
Yeah, and Dave, if you look around there's probably a Ruckus stock frame hanging from there. That was the only thing I remember keeping, because I bought one at Burt's, and we brought it to SEMA, and within 3 or 4 days at SEMA, we totally rebuilt that thing. And that's when I remember this shit all happening. But so we've got that. Then we've got the Metropolitans, right? So the Ruckus, the Metropolitans, are those scooters? Okay. And those are typically 50 cc's in the case of the Ruckus, and the Metropolitans could go up to what, 200 cc's nowadays? 300?
Yeah,
Okay.
300 now, yeah.
Okay, so that's that one class. The Grom, the Kawasaki.
The Z125.
Yeah, what is there a segment that's identified with or labeled?
So
They're more like mini moto.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. So that's
Minimoto,
Minimoto.
yeah.
Basically, like a small displacement, 125, below 200, usually mini moto.
Got it.
That's I guess you can plate them.
Okay.
That's plated.
So now let's take a look at the Cub behind you. That's a brand new Cub. And folks, for those of you who haven't not had a chance to see one, this is a stock one. They literally just got it delivered to them. By the time they're done with this thing, every body panel would be modified, color change more than likely. Anything that's bolted on, the seats, the mirrors, the lights, the grips, wheels, tires, everything. That bike may hold, it's like guys who rebuild homes here in Southern California. They keep one little wall so they can just call it a rebuild instead of a tear down. Maybe one part of that stock bike will remain the same. But I'm gonna in advance encourage you to follow along on their website and take a look at all their social media for Steady Garage and watch how they transform this Cub into something that right now you may walk by. Could be like Vespa-like. It's like Eveletta, like, hey, he ain't having none of that shit right now. But let me tell you, by the time they're done with this, Ed, you'll want to maybe take it for a little scoot.
I had a step through 90 that looked just like that years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago.
So this is
So
Vespa-like, right? I mean, just
Vintage.
okay.
Yeah.
So what category does this fall into then within your world?
It's a 125cc.
Okay.
It shares the same motor engine as the Grom and the Monkey.
Met trucks,
yeah.
Metropolitan rears, Ruckus fronts, other way around.
Other way around.
Other way around. Who came up with the Met truck?
I think Efizi, Pioneer, right? Yeah.
Eric from up in
Northern California,
Northern
San
California.
Jose.
So it's because he's smoking a big old bud there and
That's
he's
exactly
chopping up.
what happened.
Tell him. What do you know about that?
I think what happened was everybody got a Ruckus and he got a Metropolitan.
He was the only one because he thought it would have been cool that I'm gonna get something different, and he got clowned on.
Yeah, he found out he was wrong.
So he started taking panels off and figured out that, hey, the back of the Ruckus will fit.
Yeah. So I had just heard about them and heard about him, and then I showed up at one of Bing's ride and I saw one. I was like, well, fuck. That ain't too bad,
That's been around a long time.
Okay, so now I'm kind of figuring this all out. Now go to the KTM. We talked about that, right? Now what is that? That's Minimoto hardcore, right? Depending on which one shows up, because they've had a couple of those KTMs. Some of them are like mini 250 dirt monsters. What KTM falls within our group?
It'll be the Duke. Probably.
Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more in the higher CC
Yeah.
class because it's more like a bigger bike.
But they're still under that
They'll still
390.
consider, I guess, small bore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where does this off to the side here? I had a Ducati Scrambler, 803 cc liquid cooled monster. I took it up to Angelo's Crest. I came down, my arm was numb. I gave it away. Because I was afraid of it at that point. I since had surgery, and I wanted something that had that look. And although this is not Ducati exactly like, it had the knobby wheels, it had the spoke, it had the knobby tires, the spoke wheels, the big old seat, the big old lollipop mirrors. It had hints of it, but it's only 200 cc. So even if I do get thrown off it, I'll be in pretty good shape. Where does this fall into? What class would something like this fall into if I showed up at the mini massive event? How would I be categorized?
Probably the bigger, higher CC. Just probably ranked on the higher CC, 200 CCs.
Okay.
Because there are Groms out there with 300 CCs.
Okay, so I fall right into that family
Exactly.
then. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was one last group that I was curious about, but I guess what this is, folks, is that as long as you're under the limit, and once again the limit numerically 300 and what?
399.
399 cc's, you're
good.
in the group, right?
Yeah.
For more information, what's the website? Because you gave me a couple you gave me a couple website addresses within our first email. Did you change or modify the email address? Tell folks what email address they should check out for more information.
For email will be contact@motomass.org, and the website is motomass.org.
Great. We always try to entice some of the folks that are bored enough to be watching or listening to give them a little special incentive. And for those of you folks that are living in Wisconsin, I don't expect to see you in March. But if you're in SoCal and you kind of like that steady garage,
they might be coming out.
All right, so
Never
then you're right. Hell, if you'll go to Tennessee,
Exactly.
somebody from Madison, Wisconsin may roll out here. Guys, go to the website, which is open and active now. Registration's open, right?
Yeah.
Give them 48 hours and check their site out or contact them, and they'll give you a code or they'll give you some opportunity where you'll save $5 off an entry. Something like that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we'll give you something free,
Great.
with the gift.
Just ask for your JMBR discount. Any way you'd like to get that message to them for the next 72 hours. Show up, have a good time. We're looking forward to being there. Ed, maybe I can drag you out there.
Yeah, please
Never
come out.
know.
Yeah, we'll roll out there. It's not too far from us. Once again, the location, guys.
At Industry Hill, City of Industry, California.
Yeah, nice venue.
nice.
And you're not going to charge this first year. There is some charges for parking. You don't have anything to do with that, right? So they have to pay for parking, right?
Free parking for motorcycle. And there's a spectator is free.
Nice.
The only time you have to pay for anything is if you enter your bike for any of the attraction.
And what if you want to have a booth there? I would imagine there'd be a lot of manufacturers that want to be there selling their wares. They have an opportunity to display there too.
Yeah. So for vendors and sponsors, feel free to give us shoot us an email, and then we'll email you all the information.
Great. The ride, you talked about a companion element of the event where the following day, which would be that Sunday. The 31st.
Correct.
Everybody loves the ride, right?
Yeah.
Going to have a lot of people over here. You don't want them to just come for the day. Might as well make it a weekend for them, right?
That's right.
So what's the plan for the ride? Tell us the details about the ride. Is that in addition to, if you registered to be at the event, you get to be...
the ride is open for anyone.
Oh, so it's free for everybody?
Maybe you have to work on Saturday, but you
You can be the... Yeah. So tell us about the ride.
The ride, we're gonna have two separate groups because there's gonna be a cruise group and there's gonna be a outlaw group where we call for the stunners to, they'll be jumping on freeways, doing stunt and doing what they're good at. So there are gonna be two separate rides, so that way one can't complain about each other. You know what I mean?
Do you remember in school they had a fucking? Remember they had the bad row? I don't know, but in my grammar school we had a bad row.
Really?
Oh yeah, if you fucked up, you got caught throwing snowballs or putting gum in some girl's hair, getting into a fight. That afternoon, you had to stay in the bad row, and it was designated as the bad row. You sat in the bad row, and I had a seat there just about every other day. But you have a bad row for your riders.
Not really bad.
No, we weren't bad kids because we were in the bad row. We just got caught, right? We were just like you. We just got caught.
We're just trying to, please everyone.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
As much as we can, for those who aren't familiar with running from police, I suggest going on the cruise ride,
Yeah. No, there's a time and place for that. Well, look, if there's ever a group of, if there's ever a group, which is this mini moto group who likes to be active, you guys are out there more than we are. Really, you guys are riding weekly, you guys are riding nightly, because these vehicles are licensed and they have a VIN number and they have fucking directionals on them and a horn, and you're not going to get killed when you fall off because you have all that going for you. And we live in Southern California. You guys, I hope, have died and gone to heaven. And I know opening up a business catering to this market is everybody's dream who's an enthusiast, but you two know how tough it is. It ain't like
it's tough.
You ain't printing money, baby, by any means. So the fact that you guys have continued on with this and continue to flourish as a shop, continue to be kind of a feeding ground for all these cool activities. And I've always enjoyed the time spending with you both. And if anybody can pull it off, it'll be you two, without a doubt.
Thank you.
I hope that the folks from Honda, who obviously are loving what you're doing so essentially they're dropping off their hottest, latest models to you guys to let you run your fingers through their hair and have them for a few months and customize them, and then they come back like an adopted kid and bring it back to their real mom after, right?
Yeah.
They take it back. That sucks.
It won't be released till the end of, or towards the late later parts of next month.
So why does Steady Garage get one in all these other quote unquote shops? How do you get one? Why does Honda go to Steady?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, I mean you know. I mean
Yeah.
you worked hard to work with those
yeah,
guys.
but-
You put out a lot of good
I think
stuff.
what it is we go out there, they're out there, so they see us, and then they see us what we're doing, and then it's kind of like, well, they're not just one time deal. Oh, I just see them here, but we're
You live it,
consistently-
man.
We're consistently going out there
Live
with
it.
different stuff,
Yeah,
and maybe they, by seeing our product, that they think it's cool.
yeah.
I think it's exactly that. Yeah, the we live it, so they know that we've been around for what 7 years. Yeah,
Nice.
7 years, and even before that, we were around with another shop since like 2008. So it's been well over 10 years.
Yeah, and it goes by quick too.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
talking about the mini bike show. We're going to be going into our 9th year.
Nice.
And it's like, it's like, God, I don't know if I
Yeah.
got this in me. It's like at least get to 10 years. Yeah. And you have like these little benchmarks that you go for, whether it's in business, like the event, like what you're getting into now this first year. It's like newlyweds.
Yeah.
It's like you're in that phase where everything's fine. No drama. Everything's fine. I love you. You start to get to that second or third year, it gets a little tougher. You start bitching about leaving your socks around, or it's too expensive, or you got the wrong dates. And then that 4th, 5th, 6th year, everybody hates everybody. You don't like the event. There's not enough people. The spot. And then you fall back in love with it about, like I'm finding now, as I get into like this 9th and 10th year, you've got to strike the band back up again. You can't get in that groove where it's like just, all right, let's just call the same guy. Let's just hire this guy, bring the,
Because those guys probably don't even last as long.
I'm thankful that I've been around for 10 years, but I got to tell you, you guys, every time you pop one of these events out, you might as well be putting out 10 grand off to the side plus.
Easily,
So you start
yeah.
putting on an
Just like
event
that.
after a decade, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars possibly in this. It's not like we're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars in sponsors, right?
And to top it off, most of the proceeds for this event is going to donations.
I saw that. I wanted to
for
close with that
charity.
too. Talk a little bit about the charity aspect of that. We'll kind of close out with that, so give folks a real good idea what this is about.
So what we're doing is we're trying to get raffle items from all our sponsor and all that.
Great.
So we'll raffle it out, and all the 100% of the raffle tickets sold will be donated to Delhaven Community Center, which deals with kids and special needs.
Nice.
And then also City of Hope, which is just around the corner from our shop.
Beautiful.
So,
Yeah, I see that every time I go on the 210.
Yeah.
Saved a lot of people's lives I know too, the City of Hope. Yeah, what a great deal there. Hey, who's making the call over to Flanders to get them involved as sponsors? That's like right next door. You can get a cup of coffee and fucking close that deal, huh? I'll go close that deal for you. Hey, look, if there's anybody out there that's listening, and I've got some of our sponsors that would probably cross over, I'll talk to our friends over at Pioneer. We'll see if we can get some units from Pioneer for giveaway. I've got some leftover stuff considering it rained at my event and everything I bought to sell probably I still have somewhere. We got a bunch of hats and leftover stuff that we'll bring over. Once again, folks, it's Mini Massive 2019, Saturday, March the 30th, Industry Hills. It's the Expo Center. It's off of Temple Avenue right there in the City of Industry. For more information, you can check these guys out online. I've got motomass.org. Is that the one you want them to use?
Yeah.
Kevin Dunn, Ray Tong from Steady Garage, thanks for rolling out here. How are the tacos? You guys are professional taco eaters. That's the other thing too. The thing that I love about this segment is that whenever we rode, we'd ride 200 miles just to get a taco.
Yeah.
Just to eat.
Yeah, just to eat. And I'm looking forward to being at that event. Thanks for including Joe's Minibike Reunion. It's going to be a good event. Check it out. For those of you who are into this part of the scene, if you're local and if you're somewhere freezing your ass off, maybe back in, Michigan, you want to get warm with this mini moto crowd, come on out as well. Ed, you and I are going to go. We'll find some time. We'll check it out. Guys, is there anything that I missed about the event? Did we cover anything?
Yeah, you covered everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what will be the plan on this Cub behind you? What are your plans, considering you may have to have it back in 3 months? What'll happen like as soon as you bring it to the shop? You just tear it down?
Yeah, we're gonna tear it down, and it has to be lowered because it looks a little goofy,
Yeah.
with at the current stance.
How much do you typically lower that?
As
As much as you can?
all the way, yeah,
Yeah.
until maybe 3 or 4 inches off the ground.
Yeah, all right. So we start from the bottom and then go up. Yeah.
Go up.
All right. So we slam it first. Engine mods, nothing internal, all external, or you?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah, well-
Do they let you do that though?
They do.
Yeah. Oh,
But
good.
we have to revert it after. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that'll make you think, right?
Yeah.
Will you do something like a camp swap, or you do like All right. So
It's based off the Grom engine.
Okay.
Monkey engine.
got it. So do you guys have a typical stage 1, 2, and 3, or is it you guys throw all that shit out and just do it your own way? Like, what will you do? Do you already have a couple things in mind
Yeah.
that you know no one's doing? Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Well, no one's had the bike, so they can't do anything.
Ah, all right. Yeah. So, lower it, engine mods. There's so
Wheels.
much. Yeah. Okay. So what
Gotta have
what are on there
wheels.
now? Are those 12s?
They're
17.
Oh no shit. Yeah, look much bigger.
17s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17
So
mags.
what will you do? We just replace those with
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna replace them and put something else in there. Maybe do some something like a dish style.
yeah.
Yeah.
You still using a lot of Michelin rubber over there at Steady Garage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. Actually, that's one
That's
of the
our
number one seller.
supplier.
Yeah.
Michelin's.
Yeah.
Are you using other people's exhausts? Are you using Yoshi for the most part? They've got a nice kit for these things, I would imagine. I saw the one for the monkey already. Mm-hmm. With or without a header they offered, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's street or race
Yeah.
version.
And what carburetors on this thing? This their old.
Some electronic carburetor.
All right. So what do you guys do?
TFI.
What do you put
Just,
on?
basically change the ECU,
Oh, okay.
flash it, or reprogram it.
Well, the first thing I did with mine was took the fucking seat off because it was like a dirt bike seat on my Grom, right? It's a butt buster and those stupid lollipop mirrors. Well, everything's got to come off, right?
Yeah. All this, just like a,
Yeah, yeah. No, they
see.
well, they know what they're doing, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe.
the color is good.
I love the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, the color will work. So if folks want to follow along on this build, how would you suggest that they do that? Because I'm sure there's going to be a group of folks that we may have already just turned on to this new Cub. If they want to see like some of the transformation of this bike, are you gonna put some photos up as you go along?
Yeah, we usually
cover the
post
build?
the before and then the after picture. So the progress photo we'll probably post it up a little bit later.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And-
So it's just so just to tease them, and then the finish or the final result, and then we'll do the little bits and pieces after.
Great. Kevin Ray, thanks again for your time. If folks do want to get a hold of you, give them just the typical social media outlets. I know you're active on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. We already give the web addresses. Are there any other social media platforms that you want to bark out?
No, I think
No,
that's
that's
it.
it.
Yeah.
Steady
Any Steady Garage for sure, baby. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to say hi to? I know usually, well, you're good. You don't go out too much, but you're always thanking your wife, so you can go out
Yeah,
the next
thank
time.
you.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
thank
I'll
you.
set you up for
Thanks,
that
Jessica.
one.
My wives.
Thanks
And
to my
happy
wife.
birthday,
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
happy birthday.
Yeah.
What's your wife's name?
Linda.
Happy birthday, Linda. Hey, that's my wife's
Yep.
name. Never met a Linda I didn't like. Kevin and Ray from Steady Garage, Mini Massive. Check it out. End of March. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back with the big Evil Ed celebration. We're going to be bringing in Guardrail Dave. These two caused havoc back here in the valley back in the day. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast. It's season 4, episode 1. We also have some information on the mini muscle build-up from Joe Petraglia out at Arizona. Got some updates from him with some deadlines and some requests. And we've got some shout-outs as well as some giveaways. I want to thank our sponsors from Pioneer, Studs, Go Power Sports, Go Kart USA. Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in a flash.
Is your car stereo a little outdated? Don't sell your car. Upgrade it. Get hands-free calling with Android Auto on the new Pioneer Next.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast, Season 4, Episode
4.
1.
1.
But he's new. It's Irving Payan. Irving is the Green Hornet, affectionately nicknamed when I met him on our ride up in AV. Irving, whereabouts? You're south of 110 and the 91? Where are you?
No, the 110 and the 105.
What city is it?
It's South Central LA.
South Central. So, hold it up, South Central. Big part of the mini bike scene. Cool guy. What's your girlfriend's name?
Evelyn?
Why do I always forget her name?
I don't know.
I always want to call her like Angelina Jolie or something like that. Hi, Evelyn. How are you? Irving put together a nice little group of mini bikes. How many bikes are in your collection now? 15 or 50?
Yeah, 15 bikes.
15 bikes.
Vintage bikes. The newer models right now have a GT's drag bike.
Okay. GTS?
Yeah, GTS.
Nice. You got a new taco I saw?
Yeah, the Frijole.
Nice.
I'm working on that one, and also right now projects that I'm coming up. It's gonna be the Endura, the Cat Endura.
Oh, yep. Cats are big out here.
Oh yeah.
Now, your family already says that you have a problem, right? They already
Yeah, addiction.
You have an addiction?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the club. Irving's going to be sitting in with us. We're here with Evil Ed. Evil Ed just turned 55 years old. And Irving picked up a cake for him. I made a cake for him with the help of Linda. In fact, I want to thank Linda because she's been busting her ass in there.
Yeah,
She
I
did
know.
the
All day,
tacos. She had a
probably.
little gift basket for you.
Yep.
She wanted to put fucking socks and underwear in the gift basket. So I had to draw the line. But it's Ed's birthday. Happy birthday, Ed. As a special guest, we're here with Guardrail Dave, the man, the myth, the legend. You'll never find out his last name because he did too many illegal things with Evil Ed back in the day. Just like we never give you Ed's last name, you're not giving Guardrail Dave's last name either. But we're here for a good second half of the podcast. It's season 4, episode number 1. But we'd have to begin with singing a happy birthday, Ed. So with that said, happy birthday to you. And I invite you to sing while you're at home. Happy birthday to you. Lots of comments coming in.
Happy birthday
birthday. They love you. You're the king of mini bikes.
Happy
birthday to you. Blow them out, Eddie. Come on. All right, what about these? Come on.
Make a wish.
Yeah. All right. Now. Oh, see? There you go. See?
That's one of those ones.
Friends for life.
Well, you had to try something, right? Now, Ed, you had a big announcement. Tomorrow's a big, big day. What is tomorrow, Ed?
Tomorrow's my birthday.
But it's also VD Day, isn't it?
VD Day. It's VD Day. I've been calling it VD Day for years.
There's probably a hint of truth to that.
It is.
Do you notice that the guy that we bring in's got his phone ringing? It's like, you know,
Rookie.
yeah, you know. Oh, it's his it's his watch.
Oh, it's his watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
Rookie.
Oh, we had a falling down mic.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're sharing a mic now. You would think on your birthday.
Yeah, I think I moved it blowing out the candles.
Oh, that could have been. Well, that's why I've got a top-notch producer, Emmanuel. Welcome back to the season 4, Emmanuel. We wouldn't be here without you. All right, so nice job on the cake. Whose idea was it? Yours or your girlfriend's? Come
Both.
on. Both?
Yeah. Well, she picked the cake.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Thank you, Irving.
Yeah.
So, Ed, make a wish. Go ahead. Yeah. Get the knife. Come on, OJ. Jump in there. Make a wish. You get 2 wishes. Yeah, you get
a wish.
Yeah, make this wish for the OMB build that you got going on with Dave. We'll talk a little bit about that. All right, fine. You can always tell the single guys when you haven't cut a cake, right? All right. Now, all right. So let's do that. You can lick that. No, just kidding. Give me the knife. All right. So that's one wish, Ed, and then we'll have another wish with the chocolate cake. Ed, do you want to tell folks how old you are, or would you rather not? You should be proud.
63 tomorrow.
63. Well, goddamn, you're old. Here, make another incision, and you get another wish too.
Oh, okay.
This is where you wish us big success as podcasters, and we're become millionaires. There you go. All right.
Are we going to become millionaires?
We're not. Sorry. All right. So there it is, folks. It's now official. It's the Evil Ed 67th birthday.
63rd birthday.
Oh, sorry about that. Where do those 4 years come? Congratulations, Ed, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're a
Thank
great
you,
co-host of the podcast.
Thank you.
We made some cards for you, but we do have some photos of Ed. I didn't realize you snuck in a cool little 3-horse.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
That's an early bike, a lightning bolt badge.
And what's going on with the fucking fenders?
Those are early Bonanza fenders.
Yeah, and
The
everything-
mounts are different, in a different spot than the later ones.
Noticed them. And you taught me how to run the cables. I like the way you kind of dipped them low there. But this is Ed, one of many photos on the Facebook page. And as I show this photo, Dave, how long have you known Ed now?
Oh, it's been quite a while.
What's it been? Let's go back now, because you guys have to go back to
15
and help yourself to some cake.
I'd say about 15 years.
15 years? All right. So Ed, how did you guys first meet up? And I'll cut the cake. You guys tell us a little bit about how you first met up, and don't forget you're sharing a microphone. How did you first meet Guardrail Dave? And would you like chocolate or vanilla?
I forgot.
Well, that's not going to do. Okay, we need a fucking story.
It was at a race or something.
You want
we
chocolate?
had.
It was the RC track race, and I borrowed a bike because I was just getting into mini bikes.
Oh, yeah.
So I borrowed a bike from Ed, and that's where we met and became friends.
All right. Thanks,
That's
Dave.
right, the RC track.
So you first meet him. He's still got the beard and all that stuff. You know
He
him
looked
already.
the same. It just maybe not. Well, I don't think either one of us were as gray, but yeah.
And you know he's not like a big social monster where he's going to come up and start talking to you. How did you first start talking to him?
I needed a bike for the race. Me,
Chocolate
and,
Ed?
Another friend of mine, Edwin.
Yeah, either one, it doesn't matter.
You needed a bike.
Yeah, so Ed had an extra bike, so he loaned it to me for the race.
That was nice of you.
And
And you had already known Dave or known of Dave?
no, we met there.
there.
Okay.
He-
And you let
he
him borrow the bike.
Brought it to the track, and I showed up at the track. We met, became friends, and we've been building and riding ever since.
And how did you do with the bike?
I say I would have won, but the throttle cable broke.
All right. Well, Ed, you're a nice enough guy, but I don't see you like handing out your bike. What caused
I'm a nice guy.
All right, so it was just that. There was nothing. He didn't stand out.
That was through a friend. We had a mutual friend.
Who was that?
It was a Paul 41, right?
Okay, who's Paul
He's
41?
another mini bike guy. Is not
kind you want?
with us,
Yeah, I
or
got
he's
this from
still
there.
with us, but not in the mini bike scene anymore.
All right, so you guys meet then, and who's hanging around? Who's in the circles back then? Are there guys like Edwin around?
Edwin was there.
Edwin was there.
So give me a little bit of a who's who back in the day.
They're
that
all
you-
gone. It's just Dave and I.
Well, Edwin's still around.
Yeah,
right?
he's still around, but he's into bicycles.
Well, he's actually came to the Minibike show, didn't he? Where did we see him?
He was at the reunion last year.
So, and he was also going to come to be on the podcast at some time. There you go. Is that a nice piece for you? Do me a favor. You're doing a very good job as a co-host. Find out what Ray and Kevin from Steady Garage would like, and what E, and cut them up some cake.
Yeah,
Do you
sure.
mind? You mind handing that out for them? So it's Ed. And
Yeah.
where are you guys lurking now? This is a Van Nuys deal. This is
This was Sun Valley, where this particular race was.
wow. Okay. So Sun Valley, for those of you who may not be familiar with, or for those of you who are in SoCal, Sun Valley's maybe 15 minutes from here. You can turn that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. Thanks. So we're all kind of together. Ed's in the valley.
Rookie.
Right.
You're kind of hanging out, maybe 10 minutes from where we are now, Lockers Center. We're kind of like the foothills out here.
Right.
And what would you guys do when you race? Were you racing on the street? You guys are
This particular race was a track. It was a rented track.
okay.
And, like all the rented tracks, we'll see how fast the bikes go. They never let us come back. So that was our one and only race at that
And
track.
someone always usually got hurt, which really scared the shit out of them, or fell or something.
pretty
Right? So we had heard about a variety of rides, a variety of venues, but there was one place in the valley that seems to come around a lot, and I always mispronounce it because I call it like the metronome, or the little musical metronome, or the velodrome. But there was a place in the valley that had some folklore. What is it, that place I'm talking about? Was it
The velodrome?
is that what it was?
Yeah.
And was that the place? Was that one of the places where guys would hang out back at that time?
Same. They let us race there once and never let us come back.
Yeah.
But
that
still, my favorite race of all time was that velodrome race.
so that's what I'm getting at. What was the folklore from that race? Was how many guys were out there?
Oh, there was a lot.
How many were there? 10 guys out there?
No.
Or?
It
there was
started with
How
at
many
least
chocolate do you mind?
60, I'd say,
Yeah.
30,
with the eliminations.
No shit.
Yeah.
And who put that on?
That was done by the Well, Ed can tell you that one.
Yeah, who put? No, I'm just curious, Ed. Was it an official deal or was it an unofficial deal? Did you really rent out the place? Did you fucking just steamroll
we
it?
rented out the
Okay.
Rented out the
So-
cosmetics.
Atomic Cycles.
Atomic Cycles. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. So they would kind of sponsor it for the most part, and you guys would just bring your bikes in there and pay what, nothing or $5 and
There was an entry fee to join for a year.
You
race.
joined the club.
okay. Oh, got it. And that
And
enabled
for
you
the
to
whole
ride.
year, yeah.
And so that was the only reason why you joined, so you can ride, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you rode what, once a month?
It was a once a month race,
Once a
Sunday
month.
mornings.
And you had your pit crew was you, right? You showed up.
That was it.
Or
And if you didn't know how to
whoever
fucking wrench,
whoever you could bring, yeah.
and Dave, you were pretty good from what I understand.
I took second at the velodrome.
Who came in first?
Another friend of ours named Dan.
And
He's,
you were piloting a what?
I was on a
Hand built or was?
Baja Warrior Honda 70 front end, hand built. Ran a world formula. So
Wow.
I still
How
have
many
the bike.
horsepower was that world formula? Is that a 20?
How come you
It's
guys one of each?
6.5, but world formula puts out, I don't know, whatever they put out a lot.
Yeah. What is it?
Like 20, easy 20.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. 20, 24. Yeah, that's a lot on that bike. Well, when I first met you, it was around Joe's Minibike Reunion time.
Right?
I think you had just delivered, or were about to deliver that MX Bonanza to Minibike Paul. Was it a red one or an orange one? You
Paul does have a MX Bonanza from me.
okay. I think you may have just delivered it,
Okay.
and at the time, in fact, incidentally, Ed, my God, what a great time to recognize the newest inductee into the 2019 Joe's Minibike Reunion Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Well, go right ahead.
Minibike Paul.
Paul Wiener.
Congratulations.
Paul Wiener. Congratulations, Minibike Paul. Unanimous. In fact, I hate to say this, but long overdue. I didn't. He could have been a consideration last year or the year before, but I was concerned about losing our guy from Little Indian Minibikes. Guy's going to be 100 million years old. And I wanted to induct him as soon as I could.
Paul's going to be 1 million years old.
Hey, you said it, not me. So congratulations, Paul, being nominated into the Hall of Fame. And I spoke to Paul. And it was funny because when we first announced the Hall of Fame, we got killed. We got killed. What? How are you? Who do you guys think you are doing a Hall of Fame? Who picks this Hall of Fame? Why is it?
I remember that.
Oh yeah, and it still goes on. And I laughed at the time because well, fuck, I came up with it. I get the fucking
I remember
pick
that
it,
was
Ed.
your answer. I started it, I pick 'em.
You got it. And it's been far from a fan club. All the people that are in there, with the exception of about one. And you can't be perfect. And even that guy probably there's a case to be made where he's rightfully in there. But there's a lot of other people that have been involved in the sport just in our segment. We just had Kevin and Ray on from that mini moto segment, which is really, we're still niche. That mini moto segment, like when you can go buy a bike at a Honda dealership, like when you can go buy a Monkey, when you can go buy a Cub, when you can go buy a Grom, that automatically puts their numbers way up over ours.
Oh, yeah.
You can go buy that little American Flyer kit, but it's, like we talked about earlier, it's not licensed, it's not registered, there's no VIN on it, it's not legal. So our group's always going to be smaller, but when you've got that big group, like the Mini Moto group, and you start to think of all the cool people, all the exciting things that are happening there, and just how much of a contribution that segment is to our hobby, all those folks need to be brought into the Hall of Fame too. So when you just do one a year, fuck, I'm 60. I got like fucking 5 more of these things in me. So we gotta enhance that by adding a couple people each year like we've been. So in addition to Paul being inducted into the Hall of Fame, we'll have another announcement. And we rely on guys like you, Ed, other Hall of Famers, as well as other folks that are in the hobby who just suggest or make a recommendation for someone to be in there. There's always that opportunity. And you know what? It's not a boys club, and it's not like Joe and Ed's friends. We're doing what we can. Granted, we're a little bit more aware of the folks on the West Coast like you and all of us because we're out here.
Right.
There are some cases to be made for many of the guys that are part of this mini bike scene. Who's the guy from OMB? Hent or
Drew.
Drew. Like Drew's a big part of what he's done.
Yes.
Right? You go back.
Yeah, we've gone back.
He ain't eating this fucking cake like we
We
are.
went to Wimber, Dave
Okay.
and I.
Yeah.
The guys who put on Wimber. How about all the guys in Detroit? Pizza Charles, Harris, Myron.
Myron, what's up, Myron?
How about Eric over at Studs? How about these guys who are my guy from the Tomb, Texas Outlaw Mini Bike, Mike Hughes, and Isaiah Gibbs from Texas and New Orleans. The guys from Go Power Sports and their buddy Redbeard. Those guys are making some shit happen within our hobby and within our sport. Look at Joe and Justin from the Muscle Mini Bike build-off. Those guys came to our mini bike show, drove 6 or 7 hours, dealt with the fucking rain, helped us set up, with no agenda, with no motive, just wanted to come and hang out. And they're passionate and they're genuine, and they put together this build-off now. In fact, I want to mention that too, because there's some updates. I want to welcome all those guys that are a part of that build-up, like we are with as many events that we can be a part of. We like to try to partner up, but I talked to Joe Petralia, who is a big part of it, as well as Justin Bett and many other guys that I probably forget. But the deadline is March 31st, and they'd like all the builders to use. He sounds like me. I love it. It's like use the sponsorship. It's those guys that pay the bills. There's a guy who is offering custom work on seats. If you want a custom seat for the build, there's guys who have parts, whether it's spark plug wires or exhaust. I think F&B is a part of that build off. So buy the parts that you know you're going to need from the guys that are sponsoring. Here's how it works. If F&B is sponsoring the build off and participating, you don't buy a fucking Stinger pipe. You buy the F&B. If it's Fox Fire wire, spark plug wires, no one knows. Buy those. Support those guys, just like I would ask you to support our guys. It's how this machine works. In post, Joe's asking for you to post your photos and your builds on the page to keep everything fresh. People want to see what's going on. That's when you're doing an online build. It's not like an in-your-face build. You have to post photos in order for it to be. Sure. Yeah, and now so you guys are going through that. So that's the deal on the Muscle Mini Bike build. For more information, you can just check out their Facebook page. You can check out Joe. Joe's funny as shit. He posts all that stuff about Trump. I love it. He's great. His partner Justin Bett is a great machinist and does a lot of good work. You're familiar with some of his posts. He's doing some really good work. And Dave, you're OG. You take a look at some stuff that Justin's doing. Nice creations.
All right.
Those guys are really putting their heart and soul and a lot of their time into this build off. So support it. I didn't want to get involved because you and I just took on that Barris bike. I didn't know what side was up. It was like many of them, as I was telling him, it's like I had so much uncertainty about what I was doing. 2 weeks later, I got that American Flyer kit, and I'm still trying to buy shit and get my own stuff running. And you don't need to hear it. It's so different than that Powell you had to bring back, right? It's just like there's so much to do, and I didn't want to get involved in a build up or a build off and half-ass it. So you guys got involved as partners, I understand. So what is that? That's the OMB build off?
OMB build off.
Okay, so that's the different one. What are you guys building? A drag bike?
Bonanza drag bike.
All right.
Bike.
So how did this get started? Who called up who and said you want to get involved? Did he call you or did you call him?
Well,
Dave.
I called.
You called him.
As usual, my internet's messed up again. So
all right,
Ed, let's go in partners and do a OMB build off. I got an idea, of a frame in the back of my mind kicking around. If I come out again, I'll bring the product. It's not ready yet, but it's close. And so I called Ed, and the deal was he had to post on the build off because my computer skills are lacking.
Yeah, and he's a legend on that site anyways.
He's a legend everywhere he goes. So
So you entered officially.
Yes.
Yeah, we're officially entered.
Did you have to pay for that?
No.
Okay.
It's free. It's online. Post the photos.
And you agree you're going to give them your firstborn son, and they get to keep the bike. What happens if you win? Do you have to? There's any?
Bragging rights.
Yeah,
There you go.
bragging right.
All right, nice. All right, so you guys enter.
I
Now
won
what?
before with the taco, with the vintage taco.
You won?
Yes.
Nice. So
Yeah, I painted the bike.
Ed
for
painted the bike, so we.
so you guys are returning champions?
him. Kind of.
Well, fuck, that's a big
I
thing.
think the guys on there now, most of them don't know that.
Oh, gotcha. So
There's
you
all
were.
new guys on
Yeah.
there, but there's still some.
So you were
old-timers
laying low?
on there. Yeah.
How's the cake?
Well,
good.
it was good.
Did you guys get cake?
I think they're looking for another piece.
Well, tell them to jump in.
Jump
Hey,
in.
you're not just here to fucking look handsome. You're supposed to be taking care of the room.
Jump in.
Okay, so defending champions come back after how many years of dormancy? How long's it been?
Can't remember
Couple
when
years.
that build.
Oh, just a couple.
3 years. 4
Well, then folks are going to be very aware of you guys.
3, maybe more.
So now, Guardrail Dave and Evil Ed have entered the competition. Did all the OMB message board shit start to happen?
It a
It's
Some
little.
of the old timers posted up.
Oops, sorry. They did.
Yeah.
They were welcoming you in, or they were were they positive posts?
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's when you guys enter the arena, it validates things a little bit. If you ask me, you know, if it got your attention, two OGs that entering that competition, and you do it to win it, like you didn't go in there, you're going to win, aren't you?
We're gonna try.
We're gonna try.
There are a lot of talented builders, but
Who's some of your stiff competition?
who do we have out there? I know we're competing against one of our Bonanza brothers, Neck, for sure.
Oh, Cliff Judd.
Yeah.
Yep, he's
so
there.
he's got a taco he's putting together.
We went to the 818 Minibike Parade. I know, Ed, you were busy. You weren't able to make it. I don't know if you had, was it a limp wrist or sore bones?
I think I was sick.
Yes, that was it.
it was
And Neck showed up with his taco with his little bulletproof 3 horsepower black Briggs on there, just like a sewing machine. You know, you would think he'd have some big monster, you know, high, at least a 5 horsepower. So I mean, he had the typical. If someone said what is a Southern California mini bike, he had it. And he's a bigger guy.
He is.
And that we had a great time just hanging out there.
I remember
There's a potential Hall of Fame inductee. Neck.
for sure.
I got a message from him a while ago, and I didn't know who it was at first because when he left the message, I thought it was Nick instead of Nick. So shit, the only Nick I know is in jail. So I've had a chance to spend some time with him early on, and honestly, you know, Cliff, along with even Minibike Paul, who we talked about, that was a slippery little situation for me just starting off too, because they were just a part of, well, who's this guy? And what reunion and what show? So it's funny how that's come full circle. When I met Dave for the first time at his place, and he had his really cool little house,
Right.
and really nice street, really nice neighborhood, and you go through the place, and you know that you're with a mini biker because he brings you right through the house, right to his shed. And he had like the typical shed, quote unquote, and there they were, 1, 2, 3, 4, half, 5 or 6 over there, 2 outside there.
Parts everywhere.
All with big ass racing motors. No quick little, this was no 3.5 horsepower
Right.
Tecumseh taco mini bike collector. Dave was going to run fast, and there was that bike that you were going to sell.
Formulas.
Yep,
World Formula.
World Formula Motors. He had all the right oil up there. You know, you could tell also by the type of oil people have lurking around their garage if they're
Yeah.
serious or not. So then I saw that bike, the Bonanza, and I was printing money at that fucking time, and Minibike Paul was breaking my balls. It's like, you know what? What's the deal with that bike? And he said, oh, that's a bike I'm building for so-and-so. And I heard Paul's name, and you know, you and I were hanging out at the time, and you and I never got in the middle of any situations with Paul. It was all separate. You know, I never, and I always wanted to like Paul, but if he was going to break balls, I was going to jump in with both feet. So I'm sitting there. He's telling me he's got this bike. He's
He
getting
offered
ready
me
to.
double. He offered me double for the bike.
I said, oh, $2,400. I got $5,000. Kind of get ready. It's like, nah, I can't. It's like, fuck, you can't. I got $6,000 out there. I probably got some good pot in the ashtray. What do you need? It's like, nah. So he held it up, and so you guys entered this contest now, and it's bragging rights only.
Pretty much.
What are you gonna do for a motor?
I took the motor out of my Temecula Bob bike. It's 18 horsepower.
The
Uncle
Blue
Frank-
Wazoom.
Uncle Frank Blue Wazoom, yeah.
And how many horsepower is that thing?
18 horsepower.
So this is never a deal where these bikes meet up all together. It's all what you do online. Do you send them a video when it's done started? Do you have to send them a video of it?
Yeah, should send them a video of it.
Yeah, yeah. Because how are they going to really judge it, right?
Post
Right.
pictures of what
Yeah.
you're
The
doing.
build, the step-by-step
Yep.
pictures, and the video when it's done. I tried to hit the steady garage. Hopefully, we can get a video out their track. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So we'll check that out. We got till March 30th for that. And also, although I don't want to volunteer his time because no one's busier than any of us here. Although they're shop owners, they're probably as busy. But E's always busy. But maybe when the bike's done, before you want to give him that final video, we can give you an extra $6 or $7, and maybe he can put together a little sizzle reel for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And we also, we're not on point. I have to get him over to your garage to film some of the updates happening with the Barris bike. Let's take a second, if I can, just to switch gears for a second. Ed now has the Super Stalker George Barris Minibike project that we're working on together for Joe Lee Barris. Joe G. See, we always have that problem, don't we? Why don't you change your name? Oh, that's her name. All right. Sorry. I didn't think I got it wrong. So, Joe G. Stop, Ed. Stop.
Okay.
All right. So, we have this bike, and I did all the easy work. I got the deal set up. We went down there, took the video. E did all the video. I didn't have to do shit. The hardest thing I had to do is call her up and drive there and back. I got the bike back. I stripped it as much as I could with that stuff, and I also got contact fucking dermatitis from it. It won't go away. And then I think I got more from spiders when you dropped off that Powell kit. I don't know what's lurking in your storage area, but I got like 9 black widow spider bites.
Black Widow.
Yeah, well, whatever. So
Maybe garden spiders.
so I stripped it. I stripped all the paint off it. I took it apart, gave Ed all the hard work. Ed's got to straighten out the frame, do some welding, prep it for paint. You found did you have a small block 4 horsepower, or did you?
I had one, but the crank was broke off on the end.
Okay.
Where someone tried to get the flywheel off with a hammer and it ended up breaking the end of the crank.
No one's ever done that.
So I got another 4 horse.
At Max, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the crank
Shout out
out
to
of
Mac.
it and put it in this other motor that we had the broke crank, and it should be good.
Good. So we're going to replace. We got a 2.5 horsepower that quote unquote she thought came with it. It doesn't.
Yeah, but that's a Briggs.
Yeah. So it's a wrong motor anyway. So we've got that one. If anybody wants to buy it for a boat anchor, it's like $50. Evil Ed will sign it. It'll be $45. Ed's found a couple things, and we found was that like a legitimate serial number that I thought I
Yeah.
found? Okay, so we found a serial number on the bike. It has
Engraved in the motor plate.
it has a little bit of a chip at the underneath on the frame. I think you found a little tweak, but it's in pretty good shape for the most part.
Right.
We are struggling with and have made a decision that we're not going to spend $400 on some beat up original clutch cover. We've got the photo, and we're going to have Jake Moe. Jake, if you're listening, love you. You're going to make that clutch cover for us. Ed's going to put together that 4 horsepower engine. We got all the. We're collecting the tires. I want to find out if those are Carlisle tires or if those are the Shenzhen or is it Shenzhen or Shenzhen?
Shenzhen.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Shenzhen.
It's like Sebergandio. You try to say that. It's fucking easy for you to say Shenzhen. Yeah. So Shenzhen, either him or Carlisle, we got to get those, and we get there's like a fucking Indian head. There's a sawtooth. There's a big mama. There's the black mamba. There's every type of tire pattern. So you got to tell me the right tire and tire pattern. We'll get those. And I've got other jobs to do. I've got to get some things polished. I've got to get some throttle. I got all the easy shit to do. I got to collect a couple fucking decals, and I'm done with this. I hope. Karen's got the seat done, or close to. Karen Kraus in March. She'll have our seat done. We've got our stripes from your buddy, is it Dan Kendall? Thank you, Dan Kendall. I've had some help from our friends Greg Dahlia, who has one of the largest collection of Barris mini bikes out there. He's on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. Very helpful. You found some good decals for the front plate, but it was missing that little script at the top. We've got that. We've got the stripes. Shocks?
Shocks, I have a better
You
set
got
of
yeah,
shocks.
good. So we're gonna be good. We're good with the fenders.
I have another fender that I think is going to work on the front.
So look, we're gonna have this bike going, and we're gonna we put together. He's been working really hard because we've been trying to chop and edit to get to within. Is it 24 minutes? We're getting there. You should edit every part that I'm in out, and we're gonna be good.
5 minutes.
Thanks. So, but we're trying to put together a real good 24-minute show that kind of shows us taking on this project. And Emmanuel, thank you in advance for all you're doing on that. Ed, you're great on camera. You're natural. You are. And I think Joji's got, is it Joji or Jolie?
Joji.
She's got something for you. Although she called you Minibike Mike.
She
Or Evil Mike, what'd she call you?
She called me Evil Mike.
Ah, whatever. So she was really
But she
infatuated.
straightened it out real quick.
But she's strong on camera. She's really good. And because it's Barris, and, we're sitting in the Batmobile and the Munster.
Munster
You know,
coach.
it's just the backdrop. We literally had a chance. You're going to love seeing portions of this video. We had a chance to be in George Barris's office, in his back room, and we got a chance to go back to the bowels of the Barris garage and found boxes that said Minibike on them and just opened them up and found all kinds of transparencies and photos and decals and pictures and photos. Some of them are up there now, black and whites. Just amazing, man. And she's loving him.
So that bike's going in their showroom, I take it.
I bet the
probably
bike goes a little
will.
bit. I bet it goes on. I'm really looking forward to taking that on and seeing that. And it gives us some really good fodder. It's just not some bullshit YouTube stuff just to be on a YouTube show. This is some really good stuff that you get the chance to enjoy seeing that you would have never seen before. It really did remind me of American Pickers with a little bit of a twist. Some of the stuff that she was showing us and some of that behind the scenes stuff, that's cool stuff. Plus, if you're into mini bikes, you just see one mini bike in any portion of any show and you go crazy anyway. So we're going to give you all that stuff you need. So you guys have been together now how long?
Oh, a while.
10, 15 years.
All right.
Like an old married couple.
So you're back together now. We're building this bike. When's the deadline for this build off? For the OMB build off?
I don't remember.
June, I think.
All right.
I think. But we're going to have it done before that.
Okay. What are you currently up to outside of this mini bike deal? I mean, you were in the scene, you were out of the scene. What's your collection look like now, Dave?
My collection is down to 5.
What are they?
The drag bike that's being worked on.
Okay.
A Super Taco to be worked on, which is a really rare taco. 10-inch wheels, factory.
Nice.
And I still have my Velodrome chopper. 2 MX Bonanzas. And that's my whole collection.
Well, those are the
From
right
20
bikes.
to 5.
Yeah, we'd love to. I know you're not a big social media guy, and just not one of those guys. You're a different type of guy. But I'd love to get our hands on some photos, so that we can share with some of the folks. We'd like to see a little bit more of you. You're always invited to come on the podcast. I've been, as you know, let's face it. By the time I started asking you to come on this podcast, we just started it. You were one of the first guys that we would have hoped to get on.
And here I am, my first time.
Well, good things come to those who wait on both
There
ends,
you
right?
go.
Yeah, and I know that I would be remiss to not ask you how you got the nickname Guardrail Dave. I can almost assume, but why don't you give me the real story? How'd you get the nickname?
There's a couple rumors, but the real story is with my Harley guys when we used to race the canyons here.
Yep.
Speed limit, of course.
Sure. Never.
I was passing on the outside, and I didn't make my corner. Stuffed the bagger in the guardrail, and it took 3 of us to pull it out. And so the name stuck.
Appropriately.
Yes.
Why is a 225-pound grown, recently married man, congratulations,
Thank you.
father of one?
1, 2 stepdaughters.
All right, so father of 10.
Yeah.
Why in the hell are you still into mini bikes?
It's, I don't know. It's like an addiction, like you were saying. Once you do it, you just keep doing it.
But why didn't you just go into building trucks or building full-size motorcycles or...
I have.
Okay, all right, got
I
it.
still do, but yeah.
Okay.
The little bikes are just, I don't know. I think it's the simplicity, and it's just a frame, wheels, and a motor, and it's, you know, you just love them. When you love them, you love them.
So, with that just said, I got that kit from Go Kart USA, and it's their American Flyer 215. Ed, you have a two-piece frame, or do you have a roller from them as well?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
But it's for setup for a torque converter.
So yeah, okay, got it. So it comes in a box, and you just mentioned, hey, it's the simplicity of it. It's like it's fucking no-brainer. You fucking toothpick and bubble gum and a screwdriver. You put this
Right.
thing. Well, I'm like 4 weeks now going into this thing here. I gotta tell you, man. Like I'm still looking at things, and there was a little bag with these like little pins there. It's like, God damn, what are these things? Like, I don't have the balls to ask Ed what they are because he'll laugh at me. So I call the guy up and say, look, man, I got this bag of 3 little fucking pins. What are they? He goes, oh, those go at the end of the cable. They're cable stops. Like, and what about this bolt? It's like, well, yeah, that's for the hold in the rear brake. So you get this box with 500 parts, and there's always 1 or 2 or 3 that, despite doing it for 40 or 50 years or having a million of them, there's always 3 or 4 things, or there's always something that these simplistic, easy little mini bikes always pop up. I spent an hour with their bolt-on kickstand, cutting it and getting the right angle and getting the right size.
Yep.
Easy bolt-on.
Cut to length.
When I used to work at Carcraft Magazine, one of the biggest things we would work on is cover blurbs, because what you said on the cover of the magazine attracted that person that may be considering buying books on a newsstand. You have like about 4 or 5 seconds to get their attention. So what you put on the cover really had a lot to do with that impulse buy. And one of the things that Carcraft was religiously known for doing was putting down backyard bolt-ons. 1 hour performance hop-ups. It's like Hurst or B&M Star Shifter, backyard bolt-on. He's like, you watch some guy for 5 fucking days out there trying to put a shifter in his car. There are no backyard bolt-ons. There are no easy anythings. And that's the fun of it too.
Right.
Just to be able to drop down and put the wrench down, go back in and come back and fight another
How
day.
to paint your car in 1 weekend.
When I bring the bike out for the next podcast, the one we're working on,
Yeah.
you'll see how I take something simple and just complicate it all to hell.
Well, sure. Hey, I want to thank our guest again. Again, Ed, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guardrail Dave, for coming out and reminiscing about the past.
Oh, it's great.
I'd like to thank our friends from Steady Garage and the upcoming mini massive event. Both Kevin Dunn and Ray Tong, thanks for coming out as always. They're veterans on the show. This is their second or third time out there. I want to also recognize some folks, Ed, that I would be remiss to not mention. Tomorrow, we were actually lying this whole time because tomorrow's really your birthday, right? Yeah, so tomorrow, my nephew, Corey Tellerico, shares a birthday with you, so congratulations to him.
Oh, yeah, cool.
We recently reached the 3,000 mark of friends, which is terrible. Like, you can go to Yorkshire Terriers with Fleas, and they have more Facebook friends than we do, but we're getting there. Thank you for those folks who became friends of Joe's Minibike Reunion. With that said, we want to recognize a few folks: Valentino Peterson, Gabe Diffin, Kenny Herman, Brian Bustos, Jimmy Bruns, Devontae Jr. Lightweight. He's a friend of, I think he's a Palmdale guy.
Jimmy Bruns is a friend of mine.
Yeah, well, they all are. Richard David said to say hi. We mentioned Greg Dahlia. Your buddy Curtis, he keeps posting. He wants to say hi to you. So Curtis Scott, how are you? Cousin Joe Gelati, Gail Tellerico, happy retirement, Gail. Bill Brousseau. Also want to recognize a good friend of mine, Steve Rossitano. His dad, who was a longstanding military veteran, passed away. His name was Joe Rossitano, and he was the Rossitanos back in my hometown of Utica are really big, and the local hockey team there gave him a nice little tribute. So rest in peace, Mr. Rossitano. American Minibikes, James Griffith. James, the mini bike part guy I bought that engine from. That's a 7 horsepower Briggs that's never had any fuel or gas in it. James is out there lurking. We mentioned Mike Hughes and all the guys from the Texas Outlaw Mini Bikers, Tomb. Irving, thanks for coming. Green Hornet.
No worries.
What do you think? What do you think about this podcast shit?
Pretty cool.
You all right?
I mean, I like it.
What's next for you? What bikes you got to be finishing up? You got a couple there almost?
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, just trying to get all the parts together.
Yeah.
So put it all together into the bike.
You like to get all your parts together and then finish the bike?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to leave one bike here, then work on the other one. I just want to finish one, and move on to the other one.
I thought I was like that too. Look around, brother. It don't fucking happen. Paul Wiener, congratulations on being inducted into the 2019 Joe's Minibike Reunion Hall of Fame. We'll have a little bit more formal announcement on that as well. Joe Petralia and Justin from the Muscle Minibike. All our friends over at OMB, good luck to all the contestants who are a part of that competition. My buddy Steve DeMola. Steve was always the cool guy in high school. He had all the cool cars and had the hot chicks and had all the fucking high shoes with the platform bell bottoms. He got into mini bikes and fucking blew his whole cool. He started to get into doodle bugs. So I'm trying to fucking straighten him out and tell him, play doodle bugs. But I know he's going to take some time. But he sends me a photo of some doodle bug that he found, which was like 4 or 5 years old, brand new, with all the little tags on it. And he asked me how much it is. I said, donate it to charity. It's a piece of shit. I said, but I put a little note up on my Facebook page, and I said, hey, my buddy Steve's into doodle bugs. What do you guys think it's worth? Man, I never got so many fucking hits on the website ever. There's more. There's a nation of these doodle buggers out there. In Arizona, John Benet Ramsey starts sending photos. These guys are tricking out these doodle bugs. And those moto boxes.
Well, those guys weren't around when Bonanza first came out.
get it.
Like when we started, Bonanza first came out. Taco.
Yeah, all those.
These guys were when the doodle bugs came out.
Yeah. No, I get that, but Steve's older than me. So he missed the whole fucking Bonanza taco train,
That
right?
sounds a little gay.
So I got to help him out. But anyway, Steve, thank you, because I'm gonna create a doodle bug website. Man, there's millions of. It's like, look, I like to shop at Macy's, but it's a Kmart world. That's where everybody goes. So you have to,
It's a 99-cent store.
It's a 99-cent store world, isn't it? Neck, Cliff Judd, Jack from 818 Mini Bikes. Is it? I can never get this right, and you better help me. Is it Corona Irving or Irving Corona?
Irving Corona.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, great. Recognize him then. John Benet Ramsey, Mech, Charles, Dan Gatto, Joe Prito, Neil Lasasso, Alvin Curtis, Home Alone, Scott Latassi, Kelman Carisi's on vacation in Florida sending pictures, Brad DeMoisey, Tom Drizwigiziki. He's got those Brap new T-shirts if you guys want some cool mini bike T-shirts. Kevin Shields, Hector Elevardo, Jorge Salatanera Mario, whatever the hell your name is. Justin Eichler. Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast. We don't know when the next one will be. It'll be sometime soon. Thanks for being a small part of, this booming season 4. We look to bringing in the 1.5%ers in an upcoming. Imagine the Deadly C. Is that what that show is? E. The deadliest catch. Deadliest catch. They get all the captains of the boats and they have a round table after the season and they all talk about it. Well. Paul Wiener suggested that the 1.5%er, that club, the U and the Necks, and that maybe we get all you guys together, a little round table, a little 2-hour special on the 1.5%ers, and we'll get maybe a little bit that next level of what you guys used to do back in the day to cause all the havoc in the world. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Check it all out on our Facebook page. Thank you, Pioneer. Thank you, Studs. Thanks you, Go Power Sports.
Wishes.
Once again, happy birthday, Ed. Linda, thank you for everything. You did a great job in there, and everybody have a good time. We'll see you next time. Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast, Season 4.
See ya.
Minibike Show.